This video will show you how CAT's running a workflow that will create a DigitalOcean virtual server. We'll install on that virtual machine Apache, PHP and MySql, and we'll create a custom database and deploy a very simple PHP application that displays data from the MySql database created by CAT. CAT workflows are YAML files. On the left side, we can see our YAML file that will run the entire workflow. I will try to keep it short and explain the basics of a workflow. In the highlighted area, you can see one of the most important blocks in the YAML file, where we define all the workers that will compose the workflow. I will log in now to the web interface and show you how we can actually run a workflow. You can see here that the name and description of a workflow are taken directly from the YAML file. Our first worker will connect to DigitalOcean and create one VM. The worker has one action, to create the VM. Every action has at least one output parameter that can be also used by other workers or actions within the same workflow. Our second worker will connect to the new VM and will install Apache, MySql and PHP. One interesting remark is that you can see the Apache action has a new definition called dependencies. This means that the action will not run until the worker lamp VM has finished its action to create VM. Our last worker will deploy our small PHP application. It has one action, which uses parameters from previous workers. It also has several dependencies, so only if Apache, MySql and PHP are already installed by our second worker, then the current worker will deploy our PHP application. The GUI section lets us define how our web interface looks like. And using this feature, we can also customize the workflow using input from the web interface forms. We can run now our workflow and see how it works. After submitting the form, CAT will also send a Slack message to our channel letting us know that a new workflow has started running. We can check the status of our workflow. Since we've just started, there is no output yet from any of the workers. On the main dashboard, we can see a history of my workflows and check also the status of any workflow. On the status page, we can see a full summary of all the parameters that each worker and action are using. Each workflow has its own log file. Here we can see the log for the current workflow. We can see here that our VM is being generated. CAT will wait for the confirmation from DigitalOcean API. We can see in the log that CAT has already finished creating the virtual machine. We can check now on our web interface to see what output we have so far. I will copy the IP of the new VM to see if we can access it already in the browser. Of course, it doesn't work yet because CAT is still working on installing Apache. This will take 2 more minutes, so I will pause the video until Apache is installed. As we can see, Apache and MySql are already installed, and now we can access the default web page generated by Apache. We have to wait 1 or 2 more minutes until CAT finishes installing PHP, and then it will deploy our PHP web application. The second worker finished, and now CAT will deploy our web application. After refreshing the browser, we can see that our web application has been deployed successfully. Finally, we can reload our remote web page and see that there is some dummy data being displayed there. This data is taken from the MySql database that was deployed by CAT. We are waiting now for CAT to finish logging the status of this workflow, and we will get also a Slack message that workflow finished correctly, and we should see also on the web dashboard the status of this workflow. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me.